point. Can they pull it off and beat the legendary RMD, Generic, Mageiden, and Dannycarry? We're going to find out here in just a minute, guys. Oh, man.
Oh, man.
And the winner of this best of 5 series, guys, is going to go up against Peekaboo, Cubsy, and Dillypoo's legendary Subtlety Rogue Thugcleave.
I think Dannycarry is going to be shaking in his booties.
Yeah,
so many Resto Druids have been headhunted.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, for real, man.
Dhorthy has killed every Resto Druid that exists on the ladder, except Dannycarry, I think, so far. So he wants to add that head to his mantle. I think that's how the bracket's gone, right? Almost every Resto Druid is like... He's got a mantle. The kidney onto Dhorthy. Deep freeze ring coming down onto Joxy. I think he missed it. He's going for the poly now. That's going to land full. Eventually not using the sacrifice. Going to save it for later. Now into the half poly. Actually used the freedom to reduce the duration as opposed to using the sack. Beast of Wrath coming out with the crows. Hodge on the Dannycarry. Wyvern Sting as well. Crows are up now. He Iron Barks immediately. Lays down all of his trance. Uses the Cenarian Ward as well. Just spamming the heals to keep Mageiden topped through this onslaught from Avengelyne and Dhorthy. And Dhorthy realizing that. Just going to pull back. Wait for the crows to come up later. Genericz pursuing after him. Overextended, but Mageiden almost into kill shot range. Dannycarry having a hard time.
Yeah, and Dannycarry doesn't have that trinket available, so Mageiden could be in a lot of trouble the next CC chain onto Dannycarry. Dhorthy taking a little bit of damage at the moment. Joxy has no trinket, but Avengelyne still has 1 sack available for him. Dannycarry now caught into the full Hodge. The full trap lands from Dhorthy onto Dannycarry. Mageiden gets locked out on Polymorph. Just tanking a little bit of damage right now, spamming out those polymorphs, trying to avoid as much damage as possible. With Dannycarry caught into the DR Hex, it needs to get dispelled by Mageiden. He blinks over to Dannycarry, Cenarian Ward coming out, but Mageiden having to use that first block.
Yeah, and it's looking very scary for the RMD. Avengelyne still with his bubble. Joxy using his trinket, but it's going to be up in a minute. Dhorthy still has his trinket deterrence to bide the time for that if it's needed. And Dorothy's just line of sighting. Crows comes up in 1 second, so they're trying to swap to Avengelyne. The kidney shadow reflection comes up. He shield wells immediately. That's a lot of damage coming out. Killing spree as well. 30% might be his bubble. 20%! Please, bubble! He's going to get it off in time. The Aura Mastery overlap, though, from Joxy. Wyvern Sting landed onto Danny. Mageiden spamming the polys onto Dhorthy, trying to give the time he needs to get Danny out of the CC, but they're just going to swap. They swap over to the Hodge. Barkskin was used, but that wasn't the murder of crows yet. They're going to use the crows on the Mageiden instead. Dannycarry Iron Barks immediately uses the NS to top Mageiden off. Smoke bomb coming onto Avengelyne. No bubble available. Joxy gets into it, gets the Riptide off, eventually reconvening back behind the pillar. They've recovered for now.
Avengelyne could be in a lot of trouble. He has only Bop available for himself, and that could just get spell stolen off by the Mage. Joxy now caught into that full Cyclone. The sheep on the Dhorthy, beautiful cross you see coming out from this RMD. But Avengelyne should be fine for now. It doesn't look like there's going to be any follow-up CC on the Joxy. He's trying to get out those heals to top off Avengelyne. He's trying to fake the CS, and he ends up faking the CS with Genericz with the Shadow Step kick. And because of that, Avengelyne's going to have to bop, and it does get ripped off immediately by Mageiden. Joxy caught into the deep freeze. The wings coming up from Avengelyne. They're trying to counter pressure, trying to survive. Here comes the Spirit Link. Joxy has his trinket up in 5 seconds as well as another Spirit Link. But Mageiden is the one under pressure right now. Dannycarry desperately spamming out as many heals as he can. Amplify Magic coming out, but that's the full Hodge onto Dannycarry. He does have trinket available. He's not going to use it though. Yeah, uses the Iron Bark because they are swapping over onto him. Avengelyne caught into that kidney shot. Dannycarry having to use the Iron Bark as well, using a lot of cooldowns there. He has no trinket, no Barkskin, no Iron Bark available. So the next murder of crows could be really scary for him.
Yeah, definitely. He's still in trouble even right now. Stampeding Roar, trying to line of sight, trying to run through the Ring of Frost, blind onto Joxy. No bop. He's going to bop it off in time, trying to keep his team offensive. Dannycarry still getting pressured, and like you're saying, Murder of Crows comes up in 37 seconds if he can even live that long. Cenarian Ward force now as well. Dannycarry's completely tapped on cooldowns. Genericz and Mageiden have to turn it around something quick. Full Hodge onto Dannycarry. This could just be it. Even without the Crows, nice kidney shot onto Avengelyne. They need to peel Dhorthy though. The Polymorph comes out, Displacer Beast across the map, and Avengelyne's in trouble. Trinket Spirit Link is available. He's into the deep freeze, 17%. Not going to get it off in time. Mageiden and Genericz pulling it off at the brink of destruction. Dannycarry is very scared over here. Like this, look at that cooldown bar. Like, that's like terrifying.
Look at that cooldown bar. I thought he was donezo when he had no skin and he was putting that Hodge in human. But he made it. He survived. He got away. And Avengelyne goes down. The very first game goes to DBBDBK. I'm Stuck does have the next map choice though. This is a best of 5. Best of 5.
Yeah, red buff killing spree. There's so many little cooldowns in this game that just like one-shot you. It's so much different than it used to be, you know? Like the consistent damage is so low, but these like red buff killing spree and BM murder of crows and wings, they put your damage so over the top.
So the next
just fall down at any moment.
Yeah, the next map is going to be Ruins of Lordaeron. Speaking of falling down any moment, I feel like Shifty's a little scared right now.
Oh, Dannycarry?
Oh, Dannycarry, yeah.
Shifty's already dead. He's in the ground.
Yeah.
Dannycarry is still alive and breathing for now, but maybe not for long. This is the map where druids go to die.
This is the map where druids go to die.
They turn into cheetah form, like, you know, like your pet puppy when it knows that its time's about to run out. It just runs away. It goes to Ruins of Lordaeron, like druids. That's what happens.
Wait, why?
That was really depressing. Don't bring it up. I didn't say that. That was depressing as hell.
Yeah.
I don't want to repeat that.
Wait, why is a puppy dying?
I don't want to repeat that. I don't want to repeat that.
All right.
Nothing happened.
Oh man, this is Ruins of Hunteron, man. I feel like this Ret Hunter team is definitely going to take advantage of it. And Dannycarry, there's no place to hide. Oh man, we'll see what happens. Maybe this RMD is going to do some crazy peels and just prevent that swaps from occurring, but we'll see here in just a minute.
Yeah, definitely. Shroud coming out from Genericz, but they're just going to camp the room. These Ret Hunters are notorious for it, but Genericz is playing Shadow Step last game, so he can't step into the room. He's going to just walk through the flare, though, trying to connect onto Dhorthy, it would appear, but he gets a nice web root onto both of them. Genericz cloaks out of it. Offensively, kidney shot onto Avengelyne. A lot of damage coming onto him as a result of the adrenaline rush. Uses the shield wall to try and reduce as much as he can. Now into the Groat. Joxy's still in that polymorph. Avengelyne trying to line of sight in the Talbatar cubby hole back there, but he's still getting chunked. 30%. Pops the Avenging Wrath. Execution senses himself, but that's the Spirit Link out as well. They do escape the opener with all of their trinkets, but they're still taking a ton of damage.
Yeah, and Danny doing a great job counteracting that wings there on a Mageiden, using that Iron Bark as well as a scenario where he has full hots. Should be sitting pretty. The wings are going to fade in around 3 seconds, and Evangelyne's still not out of the woods yet. Mageiden does get locked out, though, and has to go into that block at the same time. Generic using that killing spree onto Evangelyne. The full polymorph comes out onto Joxy. Evangelyne going to sack that. He has no sacks left available. He does get blinded as well, I believe, and he bops that. But into the DR Poly, and Evangelyne's still in a lot of trouble. Genericz is getting swapped to, but he uses that evasion. Mageiden now it's still taking a little damage, has that hypothermia up for another 8 seconds, but once that fades, he should be able to get that block off. The offensive cyclone coming out from Dannycarry onto Avengelyne, trying to stop a little bit of pressure. The sheep coming out onto Dhorthy, and they're just waiting for diminishing returns to be over onto Joxy so they can swap to him. And here it is, the Deep Freeze goes out onto Joxy. The full polymorph coming out. Evangelyne has no sacks left. Joxy might have to trinket this. He does have trinket link available, but he's choosing to sit it for now. Evangelyne's going to be out of line of sight. They're swapping over onto Dannycarry, who does get hodged. I think they actually baited his bark skin there. Immediately went onto Mageiden, yeah. So both teams are kind of stabilized at the moment, but Dannycarry using his bark skin there.
Yeah, Evangelyne's Hodge is coming up in 13 seconds. Murder of Crows. Dannycarry could just evaporate here. This is where Druids go to die, and I know Dhorthy's just waiting for the opportunity. He gets cloned up. Joxy and Avengelyne and Dhorthy just need to coordinate it. Full kidney onto Dhorthy. No trinket. Smoke Bomb comes out. He's taking a bunch of damage at 70%. Deep Freeze onto Joxy. Comet Storm comes in. This might be the game. Killing Spree gets the deterrence off in time. They need to turn it around now with this Fist of Justice, but Dannycarry goes into stealth. He's going to be hiding and waiting as long as possible, but they're pressuring Mageiden. The Iron Bark and Cenarian wards him, but that wasn't the Murder of Crows. Hodge is still available. Dannycarry is scared. Oh my god, he's so far back in the room right now, camping the bear form, full hots. He can't afford to get swapped to. Dhorthy now into the full kidney, no trinket available. It might be a Spirit Link coming out. He gets it off in time this game. Dannycarry has survived to the point where his Barkskin is going to come off CD, so he should be alright.
Yeah, Dannycarry playing that perfectly, exactly what he needed to do. And now Dhorthy's still under a lot of pressure. Mageiden taking a little damage, but he does. All the Trents are out right now. Dannycarry caught into that full trap. He does have Trinket available if he needs it, as well as Mageiden having one more Ice Block available. Joxy still has his Trinket. No Spirit Links available. Evangelyne still has his Bubble, as well as Trinket. So their team should be okay for now. The offensive wings coming out from Evangelyne there. Dannycarry taking a little bit of damage. It's just going to Bark Skin there. He should be fine because of that. But he is still getting chunked down. He just can't get away from Evangelyne. He still has his wings up for another 6 seconds. He's trying desperately to hot himself, just staying in bear. The full blind comes out onto Evangelyne. He decides to bubble that offensive. They feel the kill on Dannycarry right now. Dhorthy has his crows as well as BM up in 14 seconds. Dannycarry has no trinket, no barskin, no anything available. So the next Hodge, if he can get a BM crows on that, Dannycarry could be in a lot of trouble.
But they're actually going on to Mageiden with the Wyvern Sting onto Danny. He's camping the bear from Kidney onto Avengelyne. That aggressive bubble might backfire on him at 50%. Full poly onto Joxy. No sacks available. Mageiden getting pressured. The Murder of Crows is used on him. Almost getting global killing spree in the meantime. Going to take Avengelyne out. Mageiden canceling the block to Ice Nova and take Avengelyne down. And Dannycarry positioning really well to survive and kiting those swaps until he had the bark skin.
Joxy still had his Trinket Link available there, so I mean, I guess he was being conservative with his cooldowns. I'm not sure if he used Stormform or what, but he had a way to keep Avengelyne alive, so I don't know, maybe that just too much damage incoming. He didn't realize what was happening.
Yeah, I am too. I'm watching the replay right now. Yeah, the Polymorph onto Joxy, Avengelyne. They get the block, but Mageiden comes out and gets that Ice Nova. You're absolutely right, Supa. They did have a way to survive, but it was just so much damage too quickly, I guess. And it looks like Team... It is going to be a 2-0 for DBBDBK, but this is the best of 5, guys. A best of 5. So, but that being said, this team can't choose Ruins of Lordaeron again.
So it's 2 losses with no link.
Yeah.
So that kind of sucks.
Right? Is it 2?
He wasn't even CC'd. I watched the replay. He wasn't even CC'd at the end. He dropped Healing Stream, and then Avengelyne died. I think they weren't stacked up enough, though. I think Avengelyne tried to push in to go on to Danny.
Yeah,
and
maybe he was out of range.
Yeah. So
that's unfortunate, though, because they were in a really... I mean, if they survived there, they were in a decent position to actually win that game.
Yeah. Super good position. So I'm going to go ahead and ask this this Ret Hunter team, Ret Hunter Shaman team, what the next map is going to be. They're thinking it over right now. I guess I'll take this opportunity to thank. We did get more subscriptions and more donations. Thank you guys so much for your support. It is very, very important to us to continue doing what we're doing. So thank you. The next map of this best of 5 series is going to be on Dalaran Sewers. Dalaran Sewers. Alright guys, I'll see you guys in the next map. Alright everybody, welcome to Dalaran Sewers. It's an RMD versus a Ret Hunter. It's currently 0-2 in favor of Team DBBDBK. But, I don't know, they've been some close games, man. If the defensive cooldowns were rotated better, I feel like this Ret Hunter team can pull it out. But this is a hard team to pull it out against. They are 1 loss away from facing elimination. Here we go.
Sort of a key moment in that game was Avengelyne bubbling himself offensively with that blind. I don't think that was a moment they were actually going to kill Dannycarry. I think he got away and he was sort of stabilized, so if he was a little bit more passive with that, might have been able to get him in the future with the next Hodge swap.
Yeah, Flare comes down, not going to pull anyone out just yet. Eventually at the bottom, he's going to get sapped up. Pet Nova comes through, full kidney onto Dhorthy, triple CC right now. Adrenaline Rush used onto Dhorthy as well. He's going to roar sacrifice himself at 70% health, trying to kite away. Fist of Justice onto Dannycarry. Dhorthy trying to land the trap desperately, but he's getting pressured so hard, forced into the deterrence. Going to save his trinket deterrence for later, but Avengelyne trinketed and bopped in the meantime, so he's a potential swap target. Dhorthy, though, getting crushed at 45%. Joxy trying to keep the Earth Shield up. He could just go down. The Spirit Link gets dropped as a result of this immense amount of damage, but Genericz is going to have that red buff soon. Yeah,
and they're going to be a lot of trouble because of that. Dhorthy still has his BM Crows, though, so they can make something happen offensively. The next CC chain onto Dannycarry. Dannycarry spamming out those hots and those regrowths, keeping his team topped off for the moment. Out comes the BM Crows onto Mageiden. Ironbark immediately. He's going to Barkskin that too. They use so much their Barkskin Ironbark as well as Cenarian Ward, but that was the Crows. Avengelyne still has his wings up for another 10 seconds, so he used that there as well, and that was a fair trade for Mageiden for all those offensive cooldowns coming out of Dhorthy and Avengelyne.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you trade all in for all in, or you're going to risk just getting globaled randomly. So Dannycarry getting kind of tapped on mana. He's really far back, maybe even going to go for a drink, camping the bear for him. He's worried about the next Crows coming up in 30 seconds. Kidney shot into Dhorthy, Paladin into Joxy. Eventually has a sack. He's choosing not to use it. Dhorthy's still getting pressured. Shadow Reflection comes out. Cenarian Ward used by Dannycarry to keep Mageiden offensive on top of this entire PHS. Joxy pops the Aura Mastery to top Dhorthy off. Doesn't want to deal with the interrupts that were available. I actually Aura Mastery'd the kick of Genericz there, so good choice choice to use that cooldown. Dhorthy building up the stack slowly but surely. Mageiden with only 1 block remaining. Dannycarry's got to be worried about him as well as himself. His Murder of Crows comes up in 2 seconds here. Avengelyne getting dispelled out of the poly. Joxy drops down the Windwalk Totem. Fist of Justice onto Genericz. They're making a swap. The Flame Shot comes up. Maybe a Lava Burst even out from Joxy here. Wyvern Sting onto Dannycarry. Genericz getting pressure. Pops the evasion. Murder of Crows is up onto him. Dannycarry coming out of the CC. He's trying to save that Ironbark. He doesn't want to use it on Genericz in case they make a swap later to Mageiden. He's going to be able to get away with it. Killing spree onto Dhorthy though. Feign Death comes out. He's still taking a bunch of damage. Eviscerate connects. Full poly onto Joxy. He's not sacking it. They're just going to trade the deterrence instead. Now cheap shots onto Avengelyne. Joxy into the last polymorph here shortly. Danny going for the clone though. Lands the full clone. Dhorthy in a bit of trouble here. 30%. The Trinket Link gets dropped. Joxy not going to play greedy this time.
Yeah, Joxy just uses Spirit Link, like you said, as well as Trinket. Dhorthy has no deterrences available. Avengelyne has some cooldown, so he has a sack available to get Joxy out of the next CC chain. But Dannycarry caught into the full trap. Mageiden getting taken down, uses that cold snap. He's going to have another block available. Dannycarry caught into the Hex, and Mageiden just deciding to use that block there. And he doesn't have another block available for another 3 minutes.
Yeah, and that's
I think he actually waited too long to use his Cold Snap, so I think he forgot to reset his block, and because of that, now he's not going to have a third block for another 3 minutes.
That's one of those things you notice, though, as Avengelyne and Dhorthy, because if you're aware of that, this next Crow should go there, but maybe they don't know. Full blind onto Joxy. Avengelyne doesn't have a bop for it. Throws the fist onto Dannycarry. Trap's going to land here full onto Dannycarry. Still has his Trinket. Ring of Frost defensively coming down here from Mageiden. It's going to get sacked out by Avengelyne. Kidney now onto Dhorthy. Has his Trinket and both deterrences available now. Avengelyne with his bubble. Spirit Link coming up in 17 seconds. The PHS is looking good. Looking pretty. Crows come up. No block. He blink blazing speeds across the map with the Iron Bark, but they could just swap to Dannycarry. They bait the Bark Skin out there. Genericz peeling like a god right now. Avengelyne still with the Avenging Wrath, pressuring Mageiden. The Iron Bark falls. 30%, no blocks. 20%, 40%. Smoke Bomb comes down in desperation to try and reduce the damage onto Mageiden. He's going for the defensive polymorphs. He actually lands one onto Joxy full, trying to pressure Avengelyne into that bubble, and Mageiden somehow, some way surviving, and now Avengelyne on the back foot. 30% HP might be forced into the bubble.
Yeah, that was a killing spree coming out of Genericz there to try to counter pressure Avengelyne, which is exactly what he needs to do. Now Joxy caught into the full cycle on the wall coming out from Avengelyne. Avengelyne does have his bubble available, but that's really it. Joxy has one link. Mageiden taking a little bit of damage right now. The BM Crows with Dhorthy coming up in around 10 seconds, and I mean, Mageiden still doesn't have a block for another minute, but Avengelyne taking a lot of damage, forced into that bubble. Mageiden could be in big trouble though. Dannycarry still in that trap. If there's any follow-ups, you see there comes the DR Wyvern. Avengelyne's gonna have his wings available in 1 minute. Mageiden doesn't have his block for a minute, but the Iron Bar coming out on a Mageiden. The BM Crows is out. He might just get dropped down. Dannycarry doing everything he can to get those heals out. Beautiful peels coming out from Genericz, but will it be enough? Mageiden could just die 1% and falls over, and that late cold snap ended up costing him the game because he would have had his block up almost for sure.
Wow. Holy. All right. So I'm stuck still in it. They win again. Team DBBDBK only need one more win to advance, but they're going to have to fight for it. Let's see here. So now it's going to be Team DBBDBK's map choice. They can't choose Ruins of Lordaeron, they can't choose Dalaran Sewers, and they can't choose the Grand Arena. So what do you think they are going to choose? I feel like they're going to go to like something like They just whispered me Tol'Viron. Alright, so we're going to Tol'Viron Arena. Here we go.
Big open spaces. Dannycarry's not going to let them swap to him. And it's something that I learned fighting against Dhorthy in the series. Even I was going for re-stealths and like camping bear from playing really far back, because it's something that you know is going to come. You just need to be completely aware of it. If you get caught off guard, you're instantly dead. So Dannycarry is not letting himself get caught off guard at all, and as long as he keeps positioning like that, I don't see it being impossible, obviously, for them to take this game on Tol'Viron.
Yeah.
He did a good job last game too, just sitting at max range, and every time Avengelyne came in to get that Hodge, he would just LOS using the side of the platform and the stairs. So got himself out of a lot of CC that way, or prevented a lot of CC on himself because of that.
Oh man. So you guys said that Mageiden had the ability to
have another block, I think, yeah.
Okay. If that being said, if they can keep an eye out on that and rotate through their block better, I feel this is going to be a completely different game for.
Yeah, it's one of those things that happens sometimes where you just forget to hit cold snap when you block. But you need to.
The AoE stealth. Healing Rain getting dropped down by Joxy, eventually loading up the Sacred Shield, sap onto Dhorthy, Mark for Death on Avengelyne, deep freeze the triple CC opener once again, Adrenaline Rush being popped, Avengelyne answering with the wall instantaneously, but he's getting crushed through it. The Groat comes out, Fist of Justice though onto Dannycarry, Cheap Shot comes out, DR, 30% HP, Ice Nova connects, Polymer's coming, Ice, pop the Avenging Wrath onto Mageiden, Dannycarry Ironbarks instantly with 3 Trents down to try and eat Dorothy's trap, but he's going for the Wyvern, he gets the bash to interrupt the Wyvern, Dannycarry Displacer Beast back to reconvene with Mageiden, who has recovered now as a result of the Ironbark. He should be okay. Murder of Crows wasn't used though, and it's still available from Dhorthy once he gets the CC, but Dannycarry Shadow Melts the Wyvern, but goes into the full trap. Murder of Crows comes up onto Mageiden. Might be his first block here at 40% HP, 20% HP. That's the first block.
He immediately cold snaps there, so that block cooldown will be rolling a little bit better this game. The killing spree, though, coming out of Genericz onto Avengelyne, who's hovering around 30% HP. Joxy caught into the full clone. He got the Spirit Link down, though, which is killed immediately. That Spirit Link was crucial for them not having to use Trinket as well as Bubble there, so well played by Joxy getting that out. Mageiden, under a little bit of pressure, has that hypothermia for another 5 or 6 seconds, but he should be okay in the meantime. Meanwhile, Avengelyne caught into that full kidney. He's going to Trinket that immediately and sack Joxy out of the Polymorph, try to keep himself stabilized so he doesn't have to get in the bubble, and because of that, he will stabilize for now.
Yeah. Wyvern Sting coming out to Dannycarry, did pre-bear for him, so they can't swap with a Hodge potentially here. Needs to land the trap, lands the half trap. Mageiden getting pressured, still has one more block. Spamming the spell steals out, trying to steal Riptide and whatever he can get. He actually saps Joxy there out of the full blind, I believe it was, and now eventually getting pressured in the kidney. The wall comes out, he's still getting killed through it. Hodge onto Dannycarry, Mageiden at 50%, Avengelyne at 50%, both of them getting pressured. Poly onto Dhorthy though, he's going to Trinket offensively to get the damage rolling onto Mageiden, but he didn't use the Crows, eventually forced into the bubble anyway, and he pops the Crows now onto Mageiden with the Ironbark and Scenario, but he's going to be completely fine. Avengelyne still not topped off, spamming his own Flash of Lights. He's going to get locked out by Generic's kick, but Joxy is finally out of CC, drops the Grounding Totem, going to be able to top Avengelyne off behind the pillar here shortly. He would hope Adrenaline Rush coming out from Generic's, full clone onto Dhorthy. His offensive Trinket going to backfire now. Joxy, the Smoke Bomb comes down. They're trying to push in offensively here. Dannycarry just spamming the Cyclones, gets Fist adjusted on the second Cyclone there. Mageiden at 50%, might be a second block. Dannycarry Trinkets instantly, gets the Snaring Ward and Trent's out to heal Mageiden up.
Yeah, Mageiden's going to be fine because of that. Joxy still has a Spirit Link as well as Trinket available. Avengelyne has one bop ready, and they are going to swap over onto Genericz. He does have an evasion ready to go, but he uses that killing spree onto Avengelyne, who bops that immediately. The full Deep Freeze Sheep coming out onto Joxy. They can get that bop off. They might be able to force a little bit more. Mageiden spamming that spell steal, but he's really, really low on mana, so he's not going to be able to get it. Joxy caught into the full clone. Avengelyne's still taking a lot of damage. He has that wall available, but he's deciding not to use it at the moment. Joxy finally out of CC and should be able to get Avengelyne topped off.
Yeah, and one Trinket and Spirit Link available. Dhorthy with the Crows can turn it around at any time. Maybe they Hodge up Genericz for Sloppy's pre-evasion. Got the kidney onto Avengelyne. Walls instantly to answer the Shadow Reflection damage here. Joxy got locked out into the full Deep Freeze, possibly a full Poly or a full clone. He sacrifices, drops the Spirit Link before the second Poly comes in. Good play from the PHS, but the Spirit Link's just instantly killed. 40% left. No Spirit Link left in the tank. No Bubble, no Bob. He has the Avenging Wrath. He might have to use it to heal at this point. Joxy with a nice healing surge, though, topping him back to 60%. Mageiden with the Iron Bark, trying to stay offensive even though that Murder of Crows was used. Full blind onto Joxy, no bops available. Avengelyne running for his life at this point. Full kidney comes out. He treats instantly, trying to fake cast the kick here to spam some off fields. He gets the shield wall up again. Clone onto Dhorthy, Poly onto Joxy. Avengelyne completely alone. Moonfire is being sent out by Dannycarry now, trying to take Avengelyne down. Comet Storm comes crashing through and needs to switch the clone. Switches the clone over to Joxy. Full Poly onto Dhorthy. Avengelyne though with the Avenging Wrath onto Mageiden. Might force the block, but he's got 2 of them again. Now the full kidney onto Avengelyne in so much trouble here. One Spirit Link coming up though, and he has his Trinket. He has to make sure he gets this off. Mageiden still getting pressured. Danny into the Wyvern Sting. It's going to be hard to land that trap. He doesn't land it. The Trents eat the trap. Mageiden still getting pressured. Cheap shots coming out from Genericz to try and save Mageiden's block.
Yeah, Mageiden does have both blocks available still, like you said, and Dannycarry not in any CC right now, spamming out those regrowths. The killing spree comes out, full ring onto Joxy. Avengelyne could be in huge trouble here. He has the bubble available. In the nick of time, gets the bubble off. Joxy still has his Trinket as well as Link available. Avengelyne trying to get some heals on himself, but Joxy not out of CC, still in the Cyclone. And this could end up being his Trinket Link anyways if they can get any CC onto him. The full Deep Freeze. Avengelyne's still in a lot of trouble. Doesn't have that wall up for another 10 seconds. Mageiden taking a little bit of damage. Dannycarry caught into that full trap. The Iron Bark coming out onto Mageiden, and the Crows are going to fade. So that was a good Iron Bark on those Crows from Dannycarry to prevent some of that damage coming out onto him. Mageiden still taking a little bit of damage. Joxy still has his Trinket available. Avengelyne has 1 sack also to try and get him out of CC, but he has no Trinket. So if they cross CC Avengelyne, He's not going to be able to get anything out onto Joxy.
RMD has all their trinkets. They have Barks and they have 2 ice blocks. What can they really take advantage of? Genericz has an evasion left as well. Bash onto Dhorthy. Joxy gets sacked out of the poly, trying to lock the next poly. Does manage to lock it out. Throws down the grounding for the next incoming poly. Scenaring ward thrown up onto Mageiden before the Hodge comes out here. Should be all right with that Scenaring ward. Murder of Crows coming up in 7 seconds. That's the turnaround that Dhorthy needs. But what target can he even find to use it on? He gets cloned up now as well. Eventually trying to run away. They're trying to find a target, but there's just nothing. Capacitor Totem gets thrown down here. They're swapping over to Dhorthy. Disengages back to his team. Goes for the Wyvern Sting. That's going to land on a Dannycarry full, but eventually into the clone. Dhorthy completely alone here into the cheap shot. Murder of Crows comes up on the Mageiden. The armbar gets used at 50% HP. They're trying to crush him through, but Dhorthy at 50%. Joxy into the full poly. No sack available. He has the deterrence. He's going to activate it immediately with his trinket there. Explosive trap as well. Fist of Justice onto Danny. They're trying to land the trap out of it, but they're just not able to. Genericz sits on it, but he lands the half trap, but it's not long enough, and Dhorthy has to use the second deterrence. Avengelyne pops the Avenging Wrath. He has to global Mageiden here. Outside of a miracle, there's no hope. He might get global. Guts into the first ice block. Not going to go down. Dannycarry topping him off in the nick of time.
Yeah, and dampening has kicked in. We're around 8% dampening right now. Genericz taking a little bit of damage, but he does have that wall up. At the moment, the bomb, the kitty shot bomb comes out onto Dhorthy. He could just die, down to 20% HP. No deterrence available. Joxy has nothing left in the tank, and Dorothy's going to die. And that's going to be 3-1 for DBBDBK, and they will advance.
They will advance to the finals. It is going to be a Thug Cleave versus an RMD in the finals. Let's take a quick look at that replay. They force Mageiden into that ice block, but this Ret Hunter Shaman team is just spent. They just had nothing left at this point. And that swap over onto Dhorthy with the bomb, with the red buff killing spree. Dhorthy Roar sacrificed himself, but it just wasn't enough. The CC just would not end on to Joxy, and there it is. There it is. All right, everybody. Up next, we have the finals. We have the Boo Brothers